Hey, I hope you're doing well. So today I wanted to talk about what I've learned about myself by doing a 30-day challenge called 2 Years to Live. So I'm sitting outside in my garden today because it's such beautiful weather today, but it's quite windy, so I hope you can hear me okay, and I hope it's not gonna be too noisy with all the birds and the wind. The challenge I did started like in the beginning or the middle of May and went for 30 days, and it's called 2 Years to Live, and it's by a man called Emil Steenveld, and he got the idea from one of his clients because her name is Diane Burgess, and she had a heart condition, so she was going to go through with a surgery, but she only had like 40% chance to survive that, and if she would survive she would only have 2 years to live. So that's where this whole idea started and where he got the idea to do this challenge. And if you want to know more, I'm sure there's more information about this on maybe his website. I can link that below in the description box, but I don't know if he will do this again. I hope he will, and I think he will, but I don't know when or anything like that. This was the third batch, and it was actually my friend Millie, who was in my previous video, she did the first batch, and she loved it so much, so she wanted to do this whole thing one more time to learn some more about herself. And she said that I think that this will really benefit you, Ingrid. So that's how I got in contact with this, like how I knew about it. In the beginning I was terrified and I didn't know if I wanted to go through with this and like attend this challenge, but I trusted Millie, and she said that it was a really great experience and that she have learned so much from it. So I thought, okay, if this terrifies me that much, maybe that's a sign I should do it, and you know, go towards the things that's really scary to me, so I can grow and, you know, step outside of my comfort zone. So I wrote some things down so I won't forget about it, but there's so many things, like this whole video is probably gonna be quite messy because it's like my head is quite messy. The whole thing with this challenge, since I said like Diana only had 2 years to live, but we actually got to meet her during one of the Zoom sessions because everything was online, and she has, you know, this happened like 10 years ago, so she did have, or she got more time than the doctors told her she would get. So that's amazing, and it was so inspiring hearing her talk and about her, like this experience that she went through. And the first thing I learned about myself, like I just got so like angry and upset with myself. Like after that Zoom call I just burst into tears, and I was so angry at myself because when I was 18 I was diagnosed with cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I thought I was gonna die. Of course, when you're 18 you don't think that something like that can happen to you, but I got through with 6 months of chemotherapy, and I promised myself if I will live and, you know, conquer this, I promised myself to start living my life and be fearless and be very brave, and I kind of feel like I failed because it's like, what is it, like 9 years ago now since I got diagnosed, and I still feel like I haven't really lived my life fully, and that kind of upset me. So hearing about her story and I like thinking about my own past, it was like gosh, like what have I done? Like I have really failed myself, and I felt really disappointed in myself and angry. But in the same time, it was kind of like a fire started, just like, okay, I cannot, you know, change the past. I can just change what's happening right now. So from now on, I'm gonna start living and stop, you know, playing small. So my intention for this challenge was to step outside of my comfort zone, to be brave, to get to know myself better, because I feel like I don't really trust myself. So every week there were a new theme. So everything from creating habits and setting boundaries to forgiveness and money mindset and so on. And we also had lots of homework to do, and we also attended a Zoom session every week, and the Zoom session was like 3 hours or something like that, and it was 3 a.m. for me because people were, you know, we were like 30 or 40 people all around the world, and you know, it has to be a time that fits for everyone, and unfortunately the people in Europe really got the worst time, I guess. So the Zoom sessions in themselves were pretty hard for me because I find it really hard to talk in front of lots of people, but I had promised myself that I would speak up and share something during these 30 days. And every week I never spoke up. I felt like I became more and more like disappointed in myself, because I was like, okay, shit, like I need to speak up soon because we only have like X amount of times left to do it. And then the last Zoom session we had, it was my birthday at the same time, and I just like, okay, if I don't speak up, I'm gonna regret it, and I'm gonna feel so shitty for not, you know, keeping my promise to myself. So I did speak up, and it felt great. Like even though like my voice was shaking and I was so nervous, it felt really good to speak up and talk. And I mean, there's like 30 or 40 people that I never, like, I don't know them, so of course it's gonna be nerve-wracking, but the whole group were so like lovely, and people just shared some really personal stuff, and that made the whole group very like we held space for each other. So it was really beautiful to see everyone speaking. So it wasn't scary in that sense, because I knew that the group would, you know, be really nice, and it wasn't like scared to talk to them per se, but just like talking and making my voice heard was something I learned that I have a really hard time with. Believe it or not, I mean, I'm on YouTube, but it's different because now I'm like in front of camera and I can pause this, I can edit. It's like, it's not live broadcasting, so it's different. But with this we also learned that how you do one thing is how you do most things. And yes, I can really see that when we started to when I started to get to know myself better, I could really see that, okay, this comes back around and again and again and again. It's like the stories I've created, and like the problems is like in every aspect of my life. It's not only one thing, one area. It's just like, okay, I'm not trusting myself, and I'm not trusting myself with, you know, with money, with friendships, with, you know, career, or like anything. It's like so many things. So now I'm gonna go into more of the things I've learned about myself. So when I started to dig within myself and using all of the homework, I realized that I am afraid of judgment and I am afraid of rejection, and that's very common, I guess. And I also I wasn't really afraid of failing, but more so afraid of the unknown. So everything, like, I could just see it in all aspects of my life, just not wanting to maybe move out, or take my driver's license, or start studying, or getting a new job, or creating my own business, or meeting new people. It's like I'm scared of the unknown because I don't know what's gonna happen. And with this, having this group of people doing the homework together with me and walking the same path together, I can really see that I'm not alone. And I'm sure you probably can resonate with some of the things I'm talking about today, and please let me know if you do, because it's so nice to hear that you're not alone and we can kind of hold each other accountable to like work through that and become, you know, the best versions of ourselves. But yeah, I really saw that I'm really scared of the unknown, and of course, like, I don't know what's gonna happen if I take a leap or do something that's not familiar to me. So it's not strange or weird that I'm scared, but it's just good to know that I am. And then if I feel that fear, I should step towards it instead. Exactly what I did with the challenge, you know. It was scary, I didn't know what's gonna happen, but I did it, and that makes me really proud of myself for actually going through with it. And I also learned that I don't really trust myself. I need to be in control all of the time. I am a perfectionist, and I also procrastinate a lot. So with the perfectionism and procrastination and being in control, like, everything is like tied together, because I'm waiting, like, I want things to be perfect. I have a vision for it. For example, like with YouTube, I have like a vision how I want things to look like and be like, and I know that it's never gonna be perfect. And honestly, like, nothing is perfect, or like everything is perfect at the same time, because this will never be as I planned it to be, but it's gonna be perfect as it is, because someone is gonna listen to this and see this and resonate with it and take something from it. So it's gonna be perfect in that sense. But for example, with YouTube, like, I never make any videos because I want it to look a certain way, and that makes me not start from the beginning, because I just push it to the future. I'm just waiting for, oh, but maybe I will feel more ready to do it in a week or a month or a year, or maybe like I will learn something new and it will be better next time I'm trying, or there's always something I can blame it on. And that ties together with me feeling like a victim, because that's something I learned through this challenge, that I feel like a victim so often, and I blame either myself, or I blame someone else, or I blame like the circumstances, like what's happening to me, because I don't want to take responsibility myself, because it's easier, you know. It's easier to say like, oh, it's that person's fault, or it's, you know, this happened to me, so oh, I can't do that. Or maybe my camera is not the best quality, or I could be like, okay, it's a windy day, okay, I cannot make this video because it's windy and you're not gonna hear what I'm saying. But by blaming other people or myself or the circumstances, I'm just giving my power away. So if it's someone else's fault, I cannot do anything to change it, right? So I need to take responsibility and take my power back and say that, okay, what can I do to change this situation? Of course, something's gonna happen to you. I'm not saying that things will not happen to you, but how do you respond to that? Do you just say like, oh, this happened, I cannot do anything, so okay? Or do you say like, okay, this happened to me, what can I do to change it? What can I do now to make the situation better? In realizing that this is something I do often, that feeling like a victim is kind of like a default setting I'm having, kind of hits me quite hard, because it's not really a nice trait to have. And I felt really like, my ego really took a hit, and it didn't feel good at all. But at the same time, it's good now, because I can realize that, okay, I do this, so just stop. As soon as I find something that triggers me to feel like a victim, I'm just saying, okay, pause, stop. What can I do to make the situation better? Where can I take responsibility and change the situation, instead of just blaming everyone and everything else including myself. Like I have been blaming myself really hard for not, taking, like living my life to the fullest and so on. So, and I realized with this challenge that doesn't take me anywhere. So, but I get it, like I understand it's easy to blame myself or blame other people because I can stay inside of my comfort zone. I can stay where it's safe, I feel comfortable, nothing like new, unknown is gonna happen. I can just be here holding myself, feeling sorry for myself, and watch Netflix, eat good food, and so on. I also recognize some beliefs I have about myself, that I'm not good enough and the things I'm doing is not good enough, and that I'm like an awkward person and like awkward in social situations, so people don't really want to be my friend. And I could see that these things came up a lot, and I really wanted to hold on to these stories so tightly because, as I said before, they let me, like if I hold on to these stories, I'm allowed to stay in my comfort zone. So it's really important to find these triggers, like in what situations do I feel this way. So for example, with the feeling awkward in social situations, it happens when I'm in social situations. So if I'm doing something social, it could be like even on like the Zoom call we did, I felt really awkward and I felt like, okay, if I'm gonna speak up now, people are gonna think I'm weird or say something strange, and then they're gonna reject me, they're gonna think I'm stupid or something. So that's where my fear of rejection and unknown comes in. So just like realizing like what my triggers are, I can see those situations and realize, okay, now the little troll is sitting on my shoulder saying like, oh, Ingrid is being so awkward, but in fact like I'm not being awkward, just a story I've made up about myself. And as soon as this little troll on my shoulder is saying this, I can just like knock him off and say like, no, stop, and like create a new story that's gonna help me say like, no, I'm not awkward, maybe I'm different, but probably it's gonna be some of the people who's listening who's gonna resonate with me and think like what I'm saying is really clever. So another triggering situation is when I stumble upon something that I find hard or difficult, or I don't know how to do it. If I'm like stumbling upon something in school, for example, if there's something I don't understand, I think like, okay, I'm stupid and I'm never gonna figure this out, so I'm just gonna sabotage for myself by watching Netflix or doing something else, like scroll on social media or something else, and seeing those situations for what it is, like it's a trigger and it's triggering something in me. So with all of these situations and triggers, I kind of realized that I need to stop reacting and start responding instead, and stop making jumping to conclusions and make things mean something about me or the situation that's not true, because often I have a totally different view on the situation than other people have. Something that I found really interesting happened when we had a week about money mindset, and that was when I had to think about what's the worst thing that could happen if I was broke. So imagine I would go for my dreams and try it, but then fail and be broke, and what would happen then? And I thought that I would probably move back with my parents and get a job. And then I kind of realized that I'm actually already living my worst case scenario, except from the fact that I haven't tried. So I'm kind of disappointed in myself for not even trying to reach my dreams. And that kind of realization just made me like, whoa, what's there to lose? Okay, yeah, I can lose my savings, that's the difference, but I can also gain a bunch of knowledge, experience. Maybe I will succeed it's not a given that I would fail. I can just go for it. Although the fear is still creeping on me and being like, no, you should stay here in your comfort zone, where you're safe and where you know what's gonna happen. But I know that I'm not gonna be happy in my comfort zone. Nothing exciting happens inside of my comfort zone. So I just need to take the step and go for it. I'm almost done, but I also just wanted to talk about another thing that I realized with the money mindset, and that is that we had to picture money as if it was a person. So how's my relationship with money? And I realized that I am the clingy girlfriend, so I am scared that money will like go and will never come back. So I'm always like checking my bank account, like, are you still there? Are you still there? Like, I hope you haven't gone anywhere. And you know, I'm scared of letting it go. I'm scared of spending money. I'm holding it so tightly, and yeah, I'm just scared of I don't think it will come back. So that's kind of like my money mindset at the moment, and something I need to start working on, and being more like trusting, like trust that money will come back to me easily. Trusting that it's okay to make an investment in myself and spending money. And the last realization I want to talk about today was the fact that I don't like flaky people, and I can see that if I like meet people who are flaky, I probably will not be your best friend, because I have a really I have a pet peeve when it comes to flaky people. But I realized that I'm not showing up for myself. I'm kind of like flaking on myself all of the time, because when I promise someone else I would do something, I will do it. I will be there. I will not cancel or, you know, not show up. I will always be there for other people, but I don't show up for myself. And that ties back around with my trust. And that was one of my values that I set for myself in the beginning of this challenge, to really work on and start trusting myself. So yeah, I thought that was I just think that's so cool to see like how everything just ties back around, and I can see all of these things come back again and again and again. And now when I know about these things, I can start to change them, and I can behave differently in these situations. And also now I have the tools, because I'm no way near done working on myself, and I will never be done working on myself. It's a process that I have to do like my whole life. But now I have some tools to use when I'm in these situations, and I now know how to deal with the situations in a different way than I did before. So I am so grateful for this challenge, and I'm so proud of myself for attending this challenge and going through with it. It was hard, it was overwhelming, and it was a lot. But as I said, I'm really proud of myself. So as I said, I don't know exactly when this challenge will like come back around again, or if it will, but I will link the website in the description box if you're interested and want to read more about it. And please let me know in the comments down below if you can relate to anything that I talked about today, because I would love to hear that I'm not alone. And also let me know if you like this type of video and if you want to see something more on this kind of topic, and I would love to make some more videos. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hej då!